Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying something simple, yet powerful. Success is not something you chase. Success is something you attract by the person you become. You see, the law of attraction is not some mystical trick. It's a philosophy of living, a discipline of thinking, and most of all, a commitment to transformation. Let's start at the beginning. Clarity of vision. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, but it won't be the road to success. The universe doesn't respond to confusion. It responds to certainty. Take a moment. Write it down. What do you want? What do you really want? Get clear, because clarity is power. Now let's talk about thoughts. Thoughts are like seeds. What you plant, you will harvest. If you plant doubt, you'll harvest delay. If you plant belief, you'll harvest progress. Every day we're planting something in the soil of our mind. Choose your seeds wisely. And what waters those seeds? Emotion. That's right. Emotion is the water that makes it grow. You've got to feel it. You've got to see yourself already there. Not just wishing, not just hoping, but believing. And here's something most people overlook. Words. Your words are the outward sign of your inward state. I meet people who say, "I'll never be rich." And I tell them, with that attitude, you're absolutely right. Speak life into your dreams. Speak faith into your future. But the law of attraction doesn't stop at words and thoughts. Oh no, it's not a shortcut. You've got to do the work. Habits matter. The world doesn't pay you for what you think about. It pays you for what you do. The attraction starts in the mind, but it manifests in your routine. And let me add this. Environment counts. Get around people who inspire you. People who speak vision, not limitation. Your vibration rises or falls based on your surroundings. Choose wisely. And finally, gratitude. If you learn to be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. But if you focus on what you lack, you'll never have enough. Gratitude isn't just a feeling. It's a magnet for miracles. So my friends, if you want to attract success, don't wait for it. Design your vision. Speak your destiny. Take aligned action. The universe doesn't respond to wishers. It responds to workers with wisdom. Be that person. And success won't just come knocking. It'll move in. Success doesn't begin in the bank account. It doesn't start in the marketplace. And it certainly doesn't begin in the hands of luck. Success begins in the mind, with vision. And not just any vision, but clarity of vision. The clearer the picture of what you want, the more powerful the pull of that goal in your life. You see, the law of attraction responds not to general wishes, but to focused intentions. Vague goals produce vague results, but specific vision, that's when the real magic begins. I used to ask people, what do you want in life? And I get answers like, well, I just want to be happy. That's nice. But what does that mean? Happy doing what? Living where? Earning how much? With whom? If you can't describe it, you can't attract. The universe or God or life, whatever you believe in, doesn't respond to half thoughts and murky ideas. It responds to conviction, precision, and detail. Imagine you go to a restaurant, sit down, and the waiter comes by and asks what you'd like. You say, "Oh, just bring me something good." What happens next? One of two things. Either you get something you didn't want, or you get nothing at all. That's how most people approach life. They don't place a proper order, and then they wonder why they're not being served what they desire. Clarity is the starting point of all progress. It's the foundation upon which all attraction is built. Without it, you drift. With it, you drive. Now don't confuse wanting everything with having a clear vision. A wish list isn't a vision. A vision is deliberate. It's organized. It has emotion attached to it. It paints a picture in the mind so vivid that it moves you. You see, if your vision doesn't move you emotionally, it will never move you behaviorally. Clarity gives birth to confidence. When you know what you want, you walk different, you talk different, you think different. That vision becomes the filter through which decisions are made. Should I go to this event? Should I take this job? Should I hang out with these people? With clarity of vision, the answer becomes obvious. Does this move me closer to my vision or not? If the answer is no, you politely pass. No guilt, no confusion. Another thing I've learned over the years is that clarity sharpens focus, and focus is powerful. Try to hold a magnifying glass under the sun. If you keep it moving around, nothing happens. But if you hold it still, with focus, you can start a fire. That's what clarity does. It takes the scattered rays of your energy and directs them with purpose. It concentrates your thought, your emotion, and your action in a single direction. That kind of energy is magnetic. That's what begins the process of attraction. And here's the best part. Clarity is not reserved for the gifted or the wealthy. It's available to anyone who will take the time to sit down, get still, and think. I recommend this simple exercise. Take out a sheet of paper and write out exactly what you want in the major areas of your life. Health, relationships, finances, career, personal growth, spiritual life. Not what you sort of want, but what you truly desire. Write it down like you're placing a custom order for your future, and be specific. Don't say, I want more money. Even $1 is more. Say, I want to earn $120,000 a year doing meaningful work. The difference between wishing and intentionality is clarity. You see, the mind thrives on direction. Without it, it wanders. But when you give it a clear aim, the mind starts scanning, seeking, aligning. Suddenly, ideas come to you. Resources appear. People walk into your life who match your focus. That's not coincidence. That's the law of attraction, responding to the clarity you've created. So if you're serious about success, don't start with effort. Start with vision. Don't run faster before you've checked the direction. Take the time to define what success looks like for you. Put it in writing. Make it real. Review it daily. Let it fuel your thoughts, shape your words, and inspire your actions. Because once the vision is clear, the path starts to reveal itself. And when the path is clear, your steps gain power. And when your steps are powered by clarity, confidence, and consistency, that's when you begin to attract the success you've always dreamed of. Not by chance, not by accident, but by design. Everything starts with a thought. Every building you've ever walked into began as a thought in someone's mind. Every product you've used, every book you've read, every invention that shaped history. First, a thought. You see, thoughts are not empty or harmless things. They are seeds. And just like a farmer sows seeds into the earth, expecting a harvest, we sow thoughts into our minds and into the world expecting results, whether we realize it or not. Now here's the key. You don't get to plant corn and expect strawberries. That would be foolish. But people do that every day with their thoughts. They plant fear and expect confidence. They dwell in doubt and expect success. They think thoughts of lack and wonder why abundance stays far away. The law of attraction doesn't operate on what you say you want. It responds to what you continually think and feel. What's on your mental frequency? That's what's being broadcast. That's what's being attracted. You see, the mind is a garden. If you're not planting something on purpose, weeds will show up by default, and weeds never need an invitation. Negativity, fear, self-doubt, those are the weeds. If you don't take control of your mental soil, it will grow whatever drifts in from the wind of life. Friends, if you want a good harvest, you've got to become intentional about the seeds you're sowing. What are you thinking about when you wake up in the morning? What plays on repeat in your mind when things get quiet? If you're always entertaining worry, lack, or limitation, you're planting thoughts that produce more of the same. The law of attraction doesn't recognize jokes or sarcasm. It only picks up your dominant emotional and mental state. Whatever thoughts are most consistent become the signals you send out to the universe. Now don't misunderstand. A negative thought here or there isn't going to ruin your life. We're human. We all have doubts. But what matters is the path. What matters is what you dwell on, what you reinforce, what you repeat. Because repetition is how seeds take root. You keep watering a thought with your attention, and it will grow, good or bad. People ask me all the time, how do I change my life? And my answer is, start by changing your thoughts. Because your thoughts determine how you feel. How you feel determines how you act. and how you act determines what you get. That's the chain. So if you want to change the outcome, you've got to go back to the beginning. Now let's take this one step deeper. Your thoughts are also instructions. They tell your subconscious mind what to look for. If you constantly say to yourself, "I'm not good enough," guess what? Your mind will go out and find evidence to prove that's true. That's its job, to make you. But flip that around and begin saying, "I am capable of great things." And your mind will begin looking for ways to support that too. What you affirm in your thinking becomes what you experience in your life. So what kind of seeds should you be planting? Seeds of possibility, seeds of gratitude, seeds of abundance, courage, purpose, and vision. Start each day with intentional thinking. Don't just react to whatever the world throws at you. Design your thoughts on purpose. That's what successful people do. They wake up and think thoughts that match the life they want, not the life they fear. Let me give you a suggestion. Take just 5 minutes every morning to sit quietly and choose your thoughts. Picture the person you want to become. Think about the things you're grateful for. Imagine how it feels to live your ideal life. This isn't make-believe. This is mental conditioning. Just like you train your body, you train your mind. And when your thoughts start lining up with your vision, the law of attraction goes to work. People, opportunities, ideas, they start showing up. Not because you wished for them, but because you aligned yourself with them. And always remember, your current thoughts are shaping your future reality. What you're thinking today will show up in some form tomorrow, next week, or next year. So be a wise gardener, plant with purpose, guard your mental soil, pull the weeds quickly, and never forget, you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are, and who you are begins with what you think. So think wisely, because every harvest begins with a single seed, and every seed is a thought. And that, my friends, is where attraction begins. If thoughts are the seeds, then emotion is the water, the sunshine, the fertilizer. It's what gives life to your ideas. You can think 1,000 thoughts, but unless there's emotion behind them, they don't have power. They don't move you. And if they don't move you, they won't move the world either. The law of attraction doesn't just respond to what you think. It responds to how you feel. Feeling is the signal. Emotion is the energy. It's what turns a mental image into a magnetic force. Now, here's what I've learned. People try to manifest success, wealth, love, opportunity, whatever it is, but they do it from a place of lack. They think about what they want, but they feel the absence of it. That's the disconnect. You can't attract abundance while vibrating in frustration. You can't attract love while sitting in loneliness. What you feel consistently becomes your frequency, and your frequency determines what you attract. So the secret is not just to think about success, but to begin feeling the way you would feel as if you were already living it. Feel the joy now. Feel the gratitude now. Feel the confidence now. When you match the emotional state of the outcome you desire, you close the gap between here and there. That's when the shift begins. That's when life starts responding. But this isn't just philosophy. It's physiology. Your body is always communicating with your mind, and your mind with your body. You can shift your emotional state with movement, with breath, with focus. You can create the energy of happiness even before your circumstances change. That's the real secret. You don't wait for life to get better to feel better. You feel better, and then life begins to reflect that back to you. Now you might say, "Jim, that sounds a little too simple." But let me tell you, truth often is. Simple isn't always easy, but it's powerful. Most people live reactively. Their emotions are at the mercy of their environment. If things go well, they feel good. If things go poorly, they feel bad. But that's a risky way to live. Why? Because you've given away the one thing you actually control, your state. The law of attraction works best when you become the thermostat, not the thermometer. When you set your emotional temperature instead of just reporting it. So how do you do that? You practice. You rehearse success emotionally. You visualize the future not just in pictures but in feeling. Don't just see the money in the bank. Feel the freedom. Don't just see the dream home. Feel the peace. Don't just see the successful business. Feel the pride, the contribution, the excitement. Why? Because the emotion is the magnet. That's what begins to draw the result toward you. Gratitude is one of the highest forms of emotional energy. When you are grateful, you're telling life, I already have enough. And life responds to that vibration with more. Gratitude says, I'm ready. I'm aligned. I'm not desperate. I'm prepared. You attract more when you celebrate what's already present. It's not about faking happiness. It's about finding genuine moments of appreciation, even in the midst of challenge. Gratitude tunes your frequency to abundance. Another powerful emotion is belief, not hope. Belief. Hope is passive. Belief is active. Hope says, maybe it'll happen. Belief says, it's already on the way. When you carry belief in your heart, your actions follow suit. You speak with conviction. You plan with confidence. You show up differently, and the universe responds to that boldness. Let me tell you, the greatest breakthroughs I've ever experienced didn't come when everything looked good on the outside. They came when I decided to feel good anyway. That choice created a shift. That emotional decision opened doors. Because when you elevate your emotional state, you elevate the quality of your thoughts, your decisions, and your results. You begin to attract people, resources, and events that match the vibration you've chosen. So never underestimate the power of emotion. Don't just think your way to success. Feel your way there. Practice joy. Choose belief. Celebrate often. And most of all, feel now what you want to feel then. Because success doesn't show up and bring the feeling with it. You bring the feeling, and then success shows up. That's the power of emotional alignment. And that's how you attract what you truly desire. If you want to know where your life is headed, listen to your words. Just pay attention to what you say every day, to yourself and to others. Because your words are not just sounds. They are tools. They are containers of power. They carry meaning. They influence emotion. And they program your mind. Your words shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your reality. It's no exaggeration to say that your mouth is a steering wheel. Where your words go, your life tends to follow. One of the greatest principles I ever learned is this: we speak our world into existence, not in some magical, mystical way, but in a very practical, repeatable pattern. The things you say, especially the things you say consistently, become the script your subconscious mind follows. And your subconscious doesn't argue. It doesn't ask if it's true or false, if you're joking or exaggerating. It simply accepts your words as instruction. That's why you have to be so careful. Not just about what you think, but about what you say. You see, the law of attraction isn't just responding to what you want. It's responding to what you're saying. Your spoken words are part of your energetic frequency. If you're always saying, I never get a break, or I'm just not lucky, or this is just my life, I guess, then guess what? The universe listens, and it echoes back as you wish. Think about it. Have you ever caught yourself saying something negative out loud and then watched it unfold almost exactly as you said? That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. Words are creative. They have momentum. The more you say something, the more you believe, and the more you believe it, the more it becomes your experience. People often ask, Jim, what's the fastest way to change my life? And I tell them, start by changing your language. If you want to improve your relationships, change how you speak about people. If you want to grow your income, change how you speak about money. If you want more confidence, change how you speak about yourself. Don't speak defeat and expect victory. Don't talk limitation and expect expansion. Speak like the person you want to become. Now, I'm not saying you lie to yourself. I'm saying you start telling the truth in a new direction. You start using words that align with possibility, not with limitation. Instead of saying, I'm terrible with money, say, I'm learning how to manage my finances wisely. That's a true statement, but it opens the door to growth instead of slamming it shut. Instead of saying, I always mess things up, say, I'm getting better every day. Same reality, different future. Here's something practical. Pay attention to your language pattern. Become aware of the phrases you say without thinking. We all have them. I can't. It's too hard. That never works out for me. Those are verbal habits, and habits can be broken. Start replacing them with words that build, not break. Words that stretch, not shrink. Your brain listens to your voice more than anyone else's. So speak like a leader. Speak like a champion. Speak like someone who believes the future is worth building. Another powerful thing to do is to declare your goals out loud, not to impress others, but to impress your own subconscious. When you say, I'm going to build a successful business, or I'm becoming financially free, or I'm creating a life I love, you're not just making noise, you're broadcasting your intention. An intention backed by belief begins to attract support, ideas, energy, and people who align with it. Your words send the signal, but it works in the other direction too. You've got to be mindful of what you let others speak into your life. Not every voice deserves your agreement. Sometimes you have to counter someone else's fear with your own faith. Don't let other people narrate your story. Guard your atmosphere. Speak life. Speak vision. Speak purpose. Even when you're in the valley. Especially then, I've always believed that the spoken word has creative power. And I've seen it over and over. Someone starts changing how they speak and their life begins to rise with it. It's not instant, but it's inevitable. Words plant the seeds. Repetition waters them. Belief gives them life. And then, one day, you wake up living in the harvest of what you used to only say. So speak wisely. Speak intentionally. Speak like the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Because in the end, your words aren't just a reflection of your world. They're a blueprint for building it. And the world you build is the one you get to live in. Let's talk about the missing piece in most conversations about the law of attraction. Action. You can think all the right thoughts, feel all the right feelings, speak all the right words. But if you don't take action, nothing moves. Nothing changes. Action is what aligns the energy. It's what bridges the gap between intention and manifestation. Without it, you're just daydreaming. With it, you become a magnet for momentum. You see, the universe responds to movement. Energy attracts energy, and action generates energy. When you step forward, doors begin to open. When you take initiative, opportunities begin to notice you. It's like the old saying, God helps those who help themselves. Why? Because action is a demonstration of belief. It's proof that you're serious, that you're not just wishing, you're working, that you're not just visualizing, you're building. Some people think the law of attraction means sitting back and waiting for things to magically appear. But that's not how it works. You can't sit on the couch with a vision board and expect a six-figure income to land in your lap. You've got to do your part. The vision and emotion attract the possibility, but the action invites it in. You prepare a space for success through movement. You show the world you're ready by how you behave. Let's make this practical. Suppose you want a new job. You've written it down, visualized it, and you feel excited about it. Good start. But then you go about your day and never update your resume. You don't apply anywhere. You don't tell your network. You don't research opportunities. That's misalignment. The universe is asking, are you serious? And your behavior is saying, not really. That's why action is critical. It aligns your outer life with your inner desire. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect action. Just start moving. Don't wait to feel 100% confident. Don't wait until the timing is flawless. Start with what you've got, right where you are. Take a small step. That small step sends a signal. It says, I believe it's possible. I believe I'm worthy. I believe it's time. That one step will begin to attract the next step. And before long, the path begins to reveal itself. Momentum is a real force. Once you start moving, things begin to flow more easily. You make a phone call and suddenly get introduced to someone who opens a door. You start writing that book and unexpectedly connect with a publisher. You say yes to a small opportunity and it leads to a bigger one. But none of that happens until you start. The law of attraction doesn't reward the idle. It rewards the intentional. Now here's something else to remember. When you take action, you build belief. You gain confidence. You become more attractive to success. Because you're no longer just thinking like a winner. You're acting like one. you're becoming a person of movement. And the world loves people who move. Clients love people who move. Success follows those who don't just dream, but do. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. You don't have to know how everything will work out. Just do the next thing you can do, and do it with excellence. Do it with energy. Do it with the attitude of someone who knows that results are inevitable when action is aligned with vision and belief. Let me give you this idea. Whenever you get a good idea, act on it. Don't let it slip away. Write it down. Make the call. Send the email. Start the outline. Don't just say, "That's a great idea." Ideas are worthless without action. The world is filled with smart people who never acted, but the ones who take imperfect action, they're the ones who get results. They're the ones who attract more opportunity. Because life moves toward movement. If you want to change your life, yes. Think big, yes. Feel deeply, yes. Speak boldly, but then get to work. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Create it through action. Don't wait for everything to line up. Start moving, and watch how things begin to align around your movement. Action is what turns the engine of attraction. It is the final commitment, the handshake between you and your future. It says, "I'm not just interested, I'm in," and that's when things begin to accelerate. Because while vision sets the destination and belief fuels the journey, it's action that gets you there. Let's talk about vibration, not in some mysterious or cosmic way, but in a very grounded, practical sense. Everything in this world operates on frequency. Music, light, sound, even your thoughts and emotions. They all carry a certain energy. You can feel it. Walk into a room where two people have just had an argument, and you'll feel the tension in the air. Step into a space where people are laughing, creating, celebrating, and you'll feel uplifted. Why? Because everything carries a frequency, and the law of attraction responds to that frequency. Here's the big idea. You attract what matches your dominant vibration, not what you hope for, what you are. That's the secret. If you want love, you've got to be on the frequency of love. If you want abundance, you've got to vibrate with gratitude, joy, and confidence. You can't be constantly stressed, bitter, and anxious, and expect success to just fall in your lap. It doesn't work that way. The signal you send out is the signal that determines what comes back. So the question becomes, how do you raise your frequency? How do you get in alignment with what you want so that you're not just wishing, but attracting? It starts with self-awareness. You've got to tune in to what you're feeling throughout the day. Ask yourself, what am I broadcasting right now? Because your mood is a message. If you're constantly irritated, doubtful, or drained, you're not in a receptive state. You're not creating a climate that invites good things. But the beauty is, you can shift your vibration at any moment, just like changing the channel on a radio. You don't have to wait. You can choose a better state. One of the fastest ways to raise your frequency is through gratitude. Gratitude says, I recognize what's already working, and that creates an atmosphere of increase. You start noticing more to be thankful for, and in turn, you attract more that aligns with that feeling. Gratitude is not just about being polite. It's a power move. It's a decision to align with abundance instead of lack. Another way to raise your vibration is through movement. Go for a walk, dance, breathe deeply, change your posture. Energy moves through the body. And when you move your body, you change your state. That's why the most successful people often have daily rituals, morning routines, exercise, meditation, journaling, because they're not leaving their vibration to chance. They're setting it on purpose. And then there's your environment. You can't vibrate at a high level if you're constantly surrounded by negativity. If the people around you are always complaining, doubting, gossiping, living in fear, it's going to drag your energy down. It's like trying to run with weights on your ankles. You've got to protect your atmosphere. Spend time with people who lift you up, not weigh you down. Read things that inspire you. Listen to messages that fuel you. Feed your spirit with what matches where you want to go, not where you've been. Now let's bring this home. Suppose you want to attract more opportunities into your life. You've got the vision, You've written the goals. You're even taking action. But every day, you wake up feeling overwhelmed, defeated, or unsure. That vibration low, stressed, uncertain, isn't a match for opportunity. So you've got to make an adjustment. Before you pick up the phone, or write the email, or step into the meeting, you pause, you breathe, you center yourself in possibility. You imagine what it would feel like to already have the outcome you want, and you feel it now. That simple shift puts you on a different frequency, and that's when momentum starts to move in your favor. Let me tell you, success is not something you chase, it's something you align with. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions all vibrate in harmony with the life you desire, you don't have to beg for results. They come to you. People start noticing you. Ideas start finding you. The timing starts working out. Not because you're lucky, but because you're in sync with what you said you wanted. So ask yourself often, what energy am I bringing into this moment? Because life is responding, not to your wish list, but to your vibration. Your goal is not to force success. Your goal is to become the kind of person who naturally attracts it. And you do that by living every day on the frequency of your future. That's alignment. That's attraction. That's how it works. If you really want to unlock the power of the law of attraction, there's one word you can't afford to ignore: consistency. It's not the big dramatic moments that change your life. It's the daily quiet choices you make over and over again. It's not what you do once in a while that counts. It's what you do consistently that shapes your result. Consistency is what turns attraction into reality. You see, anyone can get inspired for a day. Anyone can visualize success for a few minutes. Anyone can speak positive words when things are going right. But what about the days when it's hard? When you don't see results yet? When you're tired, discouraged, or tempted to go back to your old ways? That's where consistency earns its power. That's where the law of attraction goes from being a concept to becoming a way of life. Let me put it like this. Imagine planting a seed. You put it in the soil, water it, and wait. Now what happens if after 2 days you dig it up to see if it's growing? You've just interrupted the process. The seed needed time. It needed consistency. You had to keep watering it, keep protecting it, keep trusting that something was happening below the surface. The same is true for your dreams. Just because you can't see results right away doesn't mean things aren't working. But if you give up too soon, you never get to see the harvest. That's the danger. People start strong, but they don't stay steady. They read the books, make the vision board, say the affirmations for a few days. But when life pushes back, or results take longer than expected, they stop. And when they stop, the energy stops. The alignment breaks. The signal to the universe gets fuzzy. But when you stay in it, when you keep showing up, even in small ways, you build momentum, and momentum is magic. Here's the truth. Consistency builds trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust in the vision. Every time you do what you said you would do, whether it's practicing gratitude, sticking to your routine, or taking small aligned actions, you prove to yourself that you're serious. You build character. You develop strength. And that kind of internal strength attracts more than just results. It attracts people, resources, and opportunities that are drawn to your discipline. Think about the most successful people you know. They're not the ones who got lucky. They're the ones who kept going. They kept showing up. They kept doing the work. And eventually, the law of attraction caught up with their consistency. The universe rewards those who are willing to persist beyond the excitement stage. Because the real test isn't how high you can jump. It's how long you can run in the right direction. Now, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you'll never slip or stumble. It means you come back. You recommit. You remember why you started. And you keep going. That's what builds momentum. That's what compounds over time. Even 5 minutes a day of focused intention is more powerful than 2 hours of random effort once a month. It's not about intensity. It's about longevity. So if you're using the law of attraction, the best thing you can do is create habits that support your intention. Make gratitude a daily discipline. Make affirmations part of your morning. Visualize consistently. Take aligned action, even when it's small. Set routines that train your mind and body to stay in a state of expectation. That's how you become a magnet for what you want, not by wishing harder, but by walking steadily. Because when you're consistent, you become predictable in the best way. Life knows where to find you. Opportunities know where to meet you. You're not sending mixed signals. You're not bouncing between belief and doubt. You're steady. You're solid. And that kind of person doesn't just attract success. They sustain it. So remember this. Attraction starts with vision, but it's fulfilled by repetition. You don't become what you occasionally do. You become what you consistently practice. Whether it's mindset, energy, or action, it's the daily rhythm that shapes the outcome. The law of attraction listens to consistency more than intensity. Be consistent in your vision. Be consistent in your energy. Be consistent in your effort. Because consistency doesn't just move mountains, it invites the mountain to move itself. And that, my friend, is how attraction becomes reality.